a lot of women have been hurt. A lot of women have had to deal with game playing, deceptiveness, men wasting their time, you name it, just all kinds of damage coming from men who want to not be serious, who don't know what they want. You name it, it's happened. And it causes so many problems. And I sympathize with all you who have gone through it, and my prayer is that you heal from it. But what I also want you to realize is there's a lot of men going through it too. It isn't a one-sided affair. I know that society and social media sometimes can make it seem like men are always the bad guy, and that there aren't women doing all kinds of crazy things out there, but that's simply not true. It's happening. And because it has happened and it continues to happen, a lot of men have developed insecurities now that they are taking into the dating process and into relationships. Now, granted, as I would encourage you as women to heal, I want the men to heal as well. It isn't necessarily your responsibility if you're not the woman who has created those insecurities. However, you want to be mindful of them, because in not being aware and understanding it, you end up doing things that pour into it. You end up doing things that magnify the issue. And if you are struggling with your own, then it's now two people coming together, holding things back, afraid, insecure, and it causes all kinds of problems. So I want you to be open-minded as I break down for you these insecurities men have in dating, and understand, I'm going to explain to you how to handle these things, all right? That's best, because the goal is simply healthy, happy relationships, as well as better dating experiences. So the first one on the list of big male insecurities is he's worried if you're only out with him for a free meal. Now, I know some of y'all hear that and say, oh, please, that doesn't happen. Women don't do that. No, there are tons of women who do that. It's much more prevalent than you think, all right? And let me explain why you may not understand how common this is. Because some of you will say, oh, my friends would never do that. I would never do that. Well, I can't speak about what you would do or haven't done. If you say you haven't done it, great, I applaud you. But some of your friends and family, not saying they're all lying, but some of them lying. and the reason is because, listen, if a woman wants to go out with a guy, and let me say this, it usually comes under the guise of, I'm going to give him a chance. So a woman might tell her friends or her family, you know what, I met this guy, I'm going to give him a chance. And I'm not saying every time a woman says that, it isn't a genuine thing that she's going to give it a chance. But sometimes that's just code for, I don't really want to go, but I'm bored, or it might be a free meal, so I'm going to go. And rather than tell you that straight out, she's going to give you the excuse of, I'm giving him a chance, or maybe even make it sound like she's remotely interested, because the last thing she wants to hear is you tell her how that's wrong. You shouldn't do that. Don't waste that man's time. She don't want you getting in the way of that chicken dinner, all right? Or maybe it's some shrimp she wants tonight. I don't know what she wants to eat, but whatever it is, she does not want you guilting her into not being able to go. So she may not readily admit to you that she's going out for those reasons. However, I have spoken to many women who have acknowledged in private that yes, they have taken a date or two or three simply because they were bored, simply because it's free food, why pass it up, all right? And many men have experienced this and have seen this. And because of that, yes, it creates this fear of, she's just here to use me. Now, some of you may think the answer to this is, all right, well, if he's worried about, I'm just here for a free meal, I will pay for my own meal, no problem, right? Don't move too fast. Slow down. Here's the thing. I'm not necessarily against you wanting to go Dutch on the first date, right? I am not telling you to go Dutch. Don't get this confused, all right? I'm saying if that's what you, in your heart, that's what you want to do, that's your choice. I'm not a big fan of it, simply because I feel like it sets the stage for things that you're probably not going to be happy with down the road. Not always, But you have to be mindful of what is this setting yourself up for and what message are you sending to the man. If he has asked you on a date, number one, he should be fully prepared to pay for that date. Plain and simple. I don't think there's any way around that. If he didn't want to pay, why is he asking? That's my perspective. As well as if you know you're looking for a relationship where this man can be in some way a provider, even if you're not looking for him to be 100% the provider, him paying all the bills and stuff like that, you don't mind contributing. If you still want him to understand that he will carry a bigger burden in that area, you don't want to start sending signals of you're the girl who's always willing to go half or pay your way or pay for him. If you do, you need to make sure you have a discussion of what you're looking for when in a relationship, all right? So that he doesn't think this is just something that's going to carry over later, that this is just you being nice because it's the first date and you don't mind going half. My thing, though, is if you're concerned about his insecurity in this area, and this is what I would encourage men to do, and I encourage women now to do as a way to combat this issue, is focus less on you paying half or you paying for the date and just encourage a simpler date. That's it. If a man is not able to do a simple date, for example, let's just go out for coffee if you drink coffee or on an ice cream date. And let's just make it, if he can't afford that, he's just not ready to date anyway, all right? To me, don't try to cover for him by taking the care of the tab. Like, yo, he should be able to handle that. But to me, that's so much better. One, because the reality is that all this focus on extravagant first dates is really unnecessary. The purpose of a date is to get to know each other. And when we have too much going on, that can take away from the focal point of getting to know each other, of diving deep into each other. It's like how I remember hearing a rule long time ago about never making the movies your first date. And the reason being is because you go to the movies, you can't talk to each other. You have to watch the movie. So yeah, we could end up having an enjoyable experience on this first date, but it's blinding us from the fact that we didn't really figure out who we are to each other. We didn't figure out if we really like this person. How well do we really get along? All we learned is that we can sit through a movie together. And yeah, maybe we had a little bit of chit chat afterwards, but I'd rather something that allows us to go deeper early so we can see, are we really feeling this? So to me, the answer to that insecurity is simpler dates. And that also shows him that, okay, you're not just trying to go for his pockets and make it all about how much money he spends on you in that first date. That should give him some level of security. If that doesn't make him feel comfortable enough, he just has deeper issues that just can't be solved. Like, just forget about it. He needs some more time before he can jump back into the dating field. All right, so now let's move along to the second big male insecurity in dating, and that is, are you genuinely attracted to him and sexually attracted to him? All right? So, of course, for a lot of men, we all know men can be visual, all right? And in being visual, attraction is important to a man. But I think we always focus on what the man is attracted to, but we forget there is a concern of what the woman is attracted to, if she's genuinely attracted to him. Because again, what many men have experienced is going on these dates or even dating someone who is sending signals that makes him confused as far as how much is she really into me or attracted to me in this way. Because the unfortunate reality is that, there are many women, whether you realize it or not, who will keep a man around even when they're not truly attracted to that man. Who may turn him, forgive me for using this phrase, but it's a phrase I've used a lot of times, who will turn this man into her emotional whore, all right? Essentially using him emotionally. He's a person to vent to, dump her problems on, all these things, but she has no intention of going anywhere romantically with this man. And the whole time she knows he wants her romantically. And she essentially uses that leverage to keep him close and to use him at her disposal. So again, because men have experienced this is what leads to many men, and let me make clear, I'm not validating or saying this is okay. I'm explaining this. This is what leads to many men being moving very fast sexually, all right, and with intimacy. Now, again, I'm not making excuses for these dudes, and I'm not saying every man who makes a move very quickly is simply doing it out of this fear of trying to confirm that you have sexual interest towards him. However, yes, that happens because there are so many men who have seen that. Again, that how you react and how receptive you are to him with intimacy and sex at least allows him to say, okay, she is attracted to me. She's not just using me. She's not just wasting my time. All right. And so men look for that confirmation because when you think about it, what else other than her verbally saying, I'm attracted to you, is going to give him that confirmation? All right. And so again, I have to keep saying, I'm not saying this is okay. It's just a very complex situation because not to mention that there are tons of stories of men who have gone out with women who tried to wait to be respectful, to be polite, did not pursue intimately, even though there was a genuine desire and attraction there, only to end up getting friend zoned, which we'll talk about a little bit later, only to end up finding out that this woman went to sleep with somebody else. All right. And he was left high and dry, only to hear the woman say to him, had you tried, it could have happened. Only to hear the woman say to him, I thought you weren't really interested because you didn't try. All right. To only have the woman say to him, I thought you was gay. Listen, I know that sounds crazy, but that has happened. That has happened tons of times. So some men have become in some ways traumatized to where they feel like I have to assert myself in this area, or I have to gain validation, gain confirmation that she is actually sexually attracted to me. So what is the way we solve this? All right. The answer is not no, go and have sex with him. That's not what I was going to tell you to do. Okay. The answer is compliments. The answer is affection with boundaries. All right. So, because I don't want things to get out of hand and I don't want him to misinterpret where you're coming from. But being able to give him a nice hug, not that friend hug where you're like, your chest is in and your behind is all the way back here. It is like, you don't really want to get too close. And I get it. Some of y'all may not be comfortable. And it doesn't have to be that. But what I'm getting at is showing him in other ways that, yes, I do find you attractive, and being able to say it. That's why I said compliment him. Letting him know that so that he does not need this additional validation. Because in most of these cases, the women aren't saying it. So he's trying to find other ways to figure this out. But if you're willing to say it, that would take care of that for most guys. All right. And who doesn't want to get complimented by someone that they have genuine interest in? You know what I'm saying? So it's a good thing regardless. All right. So number three, to be honest with you, is a big one that I really have to talk about. And the third big male insecurity is that if I show her too much interest, she will lose hers. So there's this unfortunate thing going on in society today where a lot of men are being taught that you can't show a woman that you care too much. You cannot show her that you like her too much. There's this quote that says, treat her like a celebrity and she'll treat you like a fan. All right. And so essentially men are being told, no, you have to hold that back from her. You have to, in some ways, make her chase you, make her see that you are the prize, all these things. And listen, I'm going to tell y'all straight up, I believe all of that is unhealthy. And let me make it very clear. I believe it is unhealthy from both sides because there are a lot of you who are also being told the same thing in reverse. You're being told don't show him too much interest. Don't put him on a pedestal, so to speak. All these different things. And we have to understand that if you pour negative things into a situation, into a potential relationship, don't expect positive results. And this game playing is negativity, plain and simple. It stems from fear. It stems from pride. It stems from things that do not build great, successful relationships. So now, with that said, understanding that, yes, a lot of men are fearful in doing too much. And in their head, It's the same way that there are women out there who feel that when they were loving, when they were feminine, when they were pouring into the man, that's when they got played. And the men think, when I'm showing her all this love and putting on a pedestal, all this stuff, that's when I get played. And I say to both sides, you're not getting played because you poured those things into someone. You got played or you got hurt because you were pouring them into the wrong person. Because the selection process was off, all right? And so we have to accept that if we simply become more aware of who we should give this to and who we should not, as well as understanding that you pour into it, and then when someone shows themselves they're no longer worthy of receiving it, you remove them. But you don't stop being that type of person, all right? But getting back to this insecurity with men and how we should approach this, how I want you to approach this, is to understand that if you come in with walls up, understand he's gonna have walls up too, all right? And for both of you, one person's walls will only validate the others and will only make the other person's walls go higher. If you want someone's walls to come down, you have to bring yours down. I know that sounds scary as hell, I know, but again, understand the issue is not the wall being down. The issue is not being loving and sweet. The issue is, are you keeping your eyes open? You know, when they say the saying, love is blind, don't misinterpret that to mean that when I love someone, I should become blind to everything. No, you can love with your eyes wide open. All right. And when you learn that skill, you now equip yourself to see success in any situation, any relationship that you're in. Because again, it becomes a matter of, I'm going to bring my best, and you're either going to honor and respect that, or I'm going to walk away. That's it. You see what I'm saying? But you don't say, I'm going to come halfway and wait for you to give me your best before I'm willing to give you mine. Because now he's going to see that and say, well, she's not giving me her best. And I'm afraid because the last time I gave my best, I got played. So now I'm not going to give her. Do you see where this is going? It's just a never ending cycle. You know what I'm saying? So ultimately, and let me say this. This is why it's so unfortunate, because I have literally seen situations where you have the woman playing these games. You have the man playing these games. Both of them are actually genuinely interested in each other. But both are playing this fearful game of, I don't want to do too much, and the whole thing blows up in both of their faces. And you have great potential situations being ruined by fear. This is why healing is so important. So the way to solve this, because if you're going to really get to a place where you can bring your walls down, is healing. That's going to be the key. Of course, he needs to heal as well, but you can only focus on what you can control. So healing is going to better equip you to handle this, but also understanding you don't have to hold back so much. And when I say hold back, walk in your truth, all right? Understand that there's a difference between doing a lot because it's generally who you are and how you operate, and doing too much because you're trying to win them over, trying to impress them, or you're scared to lose them. I don't want you to do a bunch of things because you're afraid. I don't want you to do a bunch of things because you're hoping to catch their interest. I just want you to be you, your best you. And maybe your best you does a lot of things. But you know what? If it's genuine, then I can be okay with that. But once he sees that, yo, this is not, if he's showing you that he's not willing to match your energy, so to speak, then we get rid of him. And that's it. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there. Some men got issues. Let's just call it what it is. All right. No offense to those men, okay? But many of you ladies have come across men who are insecure, who